Okay, so here we are. I've started highlighting his flesh over the top of the orc hide shade with a Reaper Master Series color called Jungle Moss. Okay, it is just slightly a lighter color. Let me adjust the lighting here. It is just slightly a lighter color than orc hide shade. It has a little bit of a gray to it. Kind of, this is a real natural, like, I love to use it for orc skin. I think it's great. The Master Series paints, if you use them in this manner, to where you are painting, specifically putting the paint on the high spots and not relying on the technique that I used here on the fur, the layering technique or a dry brushing technique, then they are good. If you are a dry brusher or a layerer, and that's how you get most of your stuff done, you know, they're not the paints for you. The pigment is such that they just do not do well at all with dry brushing and layering. They are fantastic for what I'm doing right here, but other than that, they're just not for that technique. There's something about the pigment. The only thing I can think of to say is that it's like streaky and too smooth for that. It's too smooth of a paint. It really is. It's implied in the name. It is for pro painters. It's not for beginner dry brusher people. But as you can see, what I'm doing is just as oh crap, you can't see that, can you? Sorry. It is just as easy as dry brushing. It might seem more time consuming, but dry brushing gets everywhere, and you know, you have to correct it a lot. So doing it this way is actually takes about the same amount of time, you know, because you don't have so much of the touch-up. Here's something I didn't notice before. Right in here, his leg is showing. I just noticed that a little while ago, and it kind of goes up this little split in his chainmail. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit it with this color, because we're going to highlight this skin up quite a bit more. Now, you can only tell from the little tiny screen that's on the camera right now, you may or may not be able to see the color difference between this and the orc hide shade, which was our base coat. I can see it with my eyes, but I can't tell if you can see it or not. But if you are following along, this is definitely a difference. Another thing that you can do is you can take your orc hide shade color and you can mix it probably 50-50 with the Catachan green color, which I really also love to use on orcs, which is going to be our next color. In fact, I'll just start it right now. There's not a whole lot of skin on this guy. The Catachan color is yet another shade and a slightly different spectrum, but still within what I like to call the natural spectrum. You know, it looks like a plant. It's not so much like a candy green. That's what I call the other greens. A lot of people like to do their orcs in candy greens. It kind of gives them more of an alien, weird look to them, but you know, I think it makes them look too cartoony. I like them to look more gritty than that. So now I'm just simply highlighting all of the high spots of this orc the same way I did just a minute ago with that other green. This is watered down Games Workshop Catachan green. It's watered down probably 50%, I would say. Again, I just use the technique where I poke the brush into the water and then stir up a little tiny spot within the cap of the Games Workshop color, and it gives me a smoother, thinner paint. Now this, I think you can definitely see the difference here in this paint versus the other one. Okay, you want to make sure that on muscles like this that your edges are round, you know, so like you see me going like this. Okay, if you're gonna leave streaks like that, then you have to do your next highlight and your next highlight and your next highlight in streaks like that, or it'll just look funny. Okay, so you really should. We're doing it smooth now. You can do it in streaks. I've seen particularly orcs muscle structure done in lines like that, or streaks of the brush stroke, and it does look pretty cool, especially on orcs. You can't go wrong. It just gives them a more corded, almost a more muscle definitioned, you know, just kind of stringy, hard skin look. But that is more advanced than what I'm teaching you here. This is just simply watered down layers, which is the beginning of becoming a really good character painter. And these techniques that I'm showing you with the watered down, several layers of watered down paint, one higher and one lighter than the next, is something that a lot of the top painters still use. So it is a technique that, you know, you can learn relatively quick, and you can spend years mastering it. I love skills that are like that. I don't have a name for them, but I'm sure somebody does. So that's that, and we're going to jump onto something else while that skin dries.